flying cars, astronauts, and email. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. I'm Sam Bushman. This is Tech Watch Radio. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. Sam Bushman, Jay Harrison, networkprovidersinc.com underwrites this broadcast. When you want to partner, think networkprovidersinc.com. Jay, flying vehicles is kind of the idea. You know, are we going to have them? It's always around the corner. We never see them. They always talk about it. But I say this, though, on the last episode, we compared the Tesla vehicles. They say they can drive how far? 2 million miles or something?
5.3 million miles between accidents is the average right now.
And 600,000 approximately for humans?
That's right. I think 660,000, but yeah.
All right. And if you make flying cars, what do you think that 660,000 drops to?
I don't know.
It can't get better with more elements involved, right?
Yeah, because a failure is like, hey, in a car, it just pulls over to the side of the road. In an airplane, there's nowhere to go but down. So, I see that aspect of it. Yeah, but you can also make the case of, hey, just if you imagine if you had everybody that has a driver's license and now they're in the air too, that could make a mess. But I think if you have full self-driving in there, and there's also new technologies like these parachutes that they build into planes for an emergency, where you literally can pull a lever and open a parachute and land with either plane without crashing necessarily. So I think that I think there's a path forward where we can make this happen.
I'm not saying there's no path forward. I'm just saying it would be much more perilous than it currently is if humanoids are going to be driving. The next question is, will they have to raise the age for driving, and or do you have to go back to driving school again?
I would say so.
It gets complicated. I'd rather be an astronaut, Jay.
I don't think you want a 16-year-old piloting an aircraft. Not your
Jay.
average one. I know some 16-year-olds that have pilot's license, but I'm just saying, like, you're just average kind of 16, probably not.
Now, if they instead went the other way and cars just went, say, 35 miles an hour top speed, then you could have 14-year-olds drive, no problem.
And in some cities, they're doing that with electrified stuff, and in certain zones,
like
basically like a golf cart. Yeah, there's the villages in golf cart or in Florida. Absolutely, they have places like that.
I'd rather be an astronaut though and do some serious flying, Jay.
Or you can do tech support for the astronauts, Sam.
Well, you might have to. I guess there's a story now about the astronauts have email trouble, Jay.
Yeah, they had an Outlook problem, and you got the guy saying, hey, I've got 2 copies of Outlook and neither one of them are working. And
yeah, that's Bill Gates. What? Classic Bill Gates? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know that Bill Gates is involved on the day-to-day on that anymore, but yeah.
No, but you blame it on Bill anyway.
Right.
When things go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
When things go good, Bill doesn't get credit, Jay. But when things go wrong, you got to blame Bill,
seat.
Right? I'm just saying it's kind of interesting, and it's really frustrating to me that you would have email problems this often. We covered a few weeks ago on the show how, I've got email problems, and I had to abandon Outlook literally entirely because it just puked on all my stuff, and then I had to this and that. And it's just been difficult as all get out.
You're like an astronaut, Sam.
Yeah. I'm better than an astronaut, man.
You're in the same class. You have the same
problems without even leaving the Earth.
Right,
okay?
Absolutely.
All right, do we get a video for this thing, though? Kind of interesting.
I don't, but Zach might. I'm not sure.
All right. All right, well, we'll skip that. Anyway, kind of interesting stuff, though. They had a big old problem. The astronauts communicating with Earth, and they're like, hey, got problems with my email. Can I get some tech support, please?
Yeah.
And they said, we're going to...
If you look on,
we're going to remotely log on and fix your Outlook. Did they ever come back and say they fixed it, Jay?
I don't know. Alex, I think his last name's Falcone, did a funny piece on this, though. If you ever see it on TikTok, he's a pretty funny creator. He does like the feature, is it a scam? Yep, and different things like that. He did a funny piece on that.
All right, we can ask ChatGPT, did they fix Outlook for the moon guys, right?
I'm sure they got it working.
Well, here's what's interesting to me. They tell you when the problems happen, but they don't tell you when the fix is, right?
Yeah.
All right, it says, yes, they did fix the Outlook issue.
I knew they'd do it. There's a good team. There's a little bit of money behind them. They should be able to get that fixed.
The Artemis 2 people, it's all fixed, yeah. The short version, Commander, I guess this guy's name is Lee Wiseman or whatever, or Reed Wiseman, said, hey, it's now happening. So
Very good. We can rest assured. Email still works in space. They may
They say
even
the
have
good
better
news is
connectivity than you.
the good news is it wasn't even a space problem.
That's good. Those guys are due home, I think, today, right?
Tonight,
as of when we're recording this. Yeah.
Yeah, they say that it's supposed to be at 8:30 p.m. or something like that. They'll splash down in the water. But they say this thing's going to roll in at 25,000 miles per hour, Jay.
You're going to need some good brakes to hit on that.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody knows how to fly that thing because I don't want amateurs flying it.
No.
25,000 miles per hour.
There's no 16-year-olds piloting that capsule.
Oh, that's good. Because I was getting worried about that. Do you think what we're hearing is all true about how the communication works on all that and stuff? They say there's two channels. There's the narrowband channel that's audio, that's very slim and compressed and simple because they want it to be real time and always work. Then they say there's kind of the backup channel, which is video and audio and all that kind of stuff that kind of sends as it can. Like, for example, when it goes to the other side of the moon, it's behind everything. It can't transmit because it's blocked, right?
Yeah, it's a laser-based
like
system, from my understanding. So it's line of sight.
Yeah.
You got to have line of sight on the capsule. And when they get out of sight or around the curvature or different things like that, you can't see. But yeah, I mean, laser is going to be as fast as you can get. It's going to be the speed of light. So that's pretty cool. I think it's cool tech.
They still say that takes a couple of seconds to get a round trip discussion, though. That's why it's a little bit awkward to talk.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I just found that kind of fascinating and kind of an interesting thing. All right. Hidden AI cost explosions, Jay.
Yep. The cost for Claude's new limits could be hitting businesses hard. Anthropic's shift from subscription coverage to usage-based billing, this is what we were talking about in a previous episode, for OpenClaw may sharply rise as costs for heavy AI users and businesses rely on third-party tools. Like I said, I did some testing one day and it was $6. And I was like, whoa, $6 for... Yeah, I mean, I'm literally talking maybe a dozen interactions of text only. And
yeah, you got to pay for the data center, Jay.
Those data centers aren't cheap, Sam. They're not cheap.
Well, and let me explain this so people kind of understand, because this gets complicated, I think, and I don't think most people really understand this. Okay, there's a lot of different capabilities with AI. And what I mean by capabilities is there's different layers, and the different layers behave differently. And so if you think, oh, I know AI because I use ChatGPT. No, you don't. Okay. There's the ChatGPT that's the normal prompt you get for $20 or whatever it is, or for free, and you just have a prompt and you just ask stuff and you get stuff back, and it's on the web or on your phone or voice or whatever. Okay. Yep. But you also have AI that you can pay per token, and you use this for developers. And when it connects to AI, third-party applications and everything, then it charges just not a standard fee like a user. It charges, based on the number of tokens you use. And so there's not a static number of pricing per month. It's how much usage. It's all based on usage. Well, anyway, I digress, except to say when you go beyond AI, what I mean by that is you go from AI, which is kind of question and answer and thought, they're thinking together, and you start to take action. So bots are going to take actions. I'm going to call that automation. So when you go from AI to automation and do things, now you're talking about big money, because now I'm not only asking bots questions and getting answers, but I'm having bots take action and do things.
Yeah, and it's got to look around and point your cursor or, call other things, and there's a lot to do.
Connect to this,
more than just
upload
back
that.
some text. Yeah.
Yeah, and input that, configure that, organize that, reformat this, do whatever tasks need to be done for these different things. And so there's a term called an MCP server. I don't want to make it super complicated, but the bottom line is these are these new servers out there now that companies can use, and you can talk to them, and you can get all kinds of information from them. And you're going to see AI turn into, instead of it being just a question and answer thing, you're going to turn into it to be, hey, we're going to take actions. We're going to have these bots do things for me. So let me give you a quick example to make the point. There's what's called Shopify. Shopify is a e-commerce website company. At least that's what it used to be. It's evolving big time, by the way. But this e-commerce company is creating what's called Agentic Storefronts. Agentic means it's an agent-based storefront.
Right.
What do I mean by that? Well, ChatGPT has worked out a way, and Claude and some of these other companies have worked out a way to connect to Shopify's MCP server. And so now Shopify can make your products from your store appear in ChatGPT results. So I've got a company called prepstartsnow.com, for instance, okay? And it's a company that does preparedness products. If you're interested in that, check it out. But anyway, and so let's say that I'm looking for a water purification system. And I type into ChatGPT, well, I need water purification. And then it asks me a couple of questions. And then let's say that it pops up something from Prep Starts Now. Well, in the past, AI would just give you a link, and then you'd click on it, and then you'd go to my website, and then you'd add it to the cart and follow the process. With Agentic Storefronts from Shopify, you'll just simply be able to buy it right there in your ChatGPT session. You don't need to go anywhere or do anything else. Just boom.
Yeah, but is it going to be pay for play? Like, how do I get ChatGPT to recommend my stuff? Or is that going to be totally organic?
Well, they claim that it's organic. I think that's temporary. So you eventually have organic, and then you'll have recommended, kind of like Google does. Or different companies are debating how it's going to be. Your point's well taken. For right now, though, it's being pitched by Shopify as free.
Yeah, I bet that's how it'll start.
All right, we got one more segment, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's good news because we got more to talk about. I want to talk about hurricanes, too, because the hurricane season's coming up. Hey, we keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. This is Tech Watch.
Former Sheriff Richard Mack recounts in his book The Proper Role of Law Enforcement how he came to realize while working as a beat cop how wrong the all-too-common orientation of police officers is when they think of their job as being to write tickets and arrest people. Richard Mack tells of his personal transformation from by-the-number cop to Constitution-conscious defender of citizen safety and freedoms. Learn what it really means to serve and protect. Purchase your copy at CSPOA.org. That's CSPOA.org.
Cybercrime is exploding. Take Sarah from Sweet Delights, whose world crumbled after having to close with not being able to bounce back. Small businesses are prime targets, but the right strategies can keep yours safe. Jay Hill, CEO of Network Providers, has co-authored The Cyber Playbook Simplifies Cybersecurity for Business Owners with Strategies to avoid costly breaches and fines. Build a strong cyber attack response. Secure your business with key protections. Cyber threats aren't slowing down, but you can stay ahead. Protect your business. Ensure its security for tomorrow. Get the Cyber Playbook today at networkprovidersinc.com/cyber-playbook or call 385-446-5500 now.
Jay brings up a valid point right before the pause, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tech Watch Radio, Tech Watch TV. I'm Sam Bushman. He's Jay Harrison. NPITechGuys.com. Spread the word, share the love. We're on YouTube and everywhere else. Anyway, we're talking about these agentic storefronts that Shopify is pushing right now. And so in your ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using, Gemini, whatever that Microsoft one is, what's that thing called? Microsoft changed the names of their stuff so often I can't even remember what it's called anymore.
Copilot.
Oh, yeah, Copilot. Used to be something else. Anyway.
Cortana.
Anyway, whatever it is.
They should call it Copilot, formerly known as Cortana, formerly known as, just have the whole list.
They should just keep the names the same so people don't get confused. If ChatGPT changes their name, I'll want to slap them. But anyway, I digress. I don't mean to get so aggressive. I'm just saying it's frustrating, right?
ChatGPT's been pretty
stable, consistent,
yeah.
Right? Same with Claude.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress, except to say that so they're going to have these agentic storefronts, and so you'll just be able to buy products straight in ChatGPT or Claude or wherever you are if your products come up. And right now it's organic, but it's not totally organic because, again, Shopify beat everybody to the punch. Shopify has this before everybody else, right?
Right.
And so right now Shopify's kind of got the edge, but other people will be able to do it too. Let's say that I'm using, instead of Shopify, I'm using something else, like maybe BigCommerce or like something else. Then eventually I'll be able to do it if BigCommerce builds it, or I'll have to build it myself by hand. Well, these MCP servers are the way people are building these by hand, by the way. It's anyway, I don't mean to get into the tech of it all, except to tell you that this stuff's coming. Action is the next stage of AI. We've all been wowed by it being able to answer all kinds of stuff. We've all been wowed by it being able to at first answer questions, single transaction. Now it can literally talk to you, and then now it can remember more, and the tokens are longer, and so on and so on. Well, the next stages are going to be automation tied to this. I not only want to ask you something, I want you to do something. So, hey, I want to know the top 5 best pizza places near me where I live. And then I pick one. I'd just be able to click on it, and it'll say, do you want me to book a table there for you, Sam? Yes, sir. Boom, done. Okay, it's that kind of stuff, Jay.
Yeah, and I actually look forward to this in that, you know,
Amen.
you've asked Google, for example, what's the 5 best pizza places? You're just going to get ads. You're going to get ads. You're going to get placement. You're going to get people that have tried to game the system. They're using SEO. They're doing all this stuff. If AI could actually cut through the crap and really know, hey, this are the 5 best places. That would be. I know
going to happen.
I know it's not. I'm saying this is ideal, right? This is what we want.
You're right. And by the way, that's what it will do at first, because
Yeah.
Google did that at first too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. When PageRank first came out, it was remarkable, and everybody was amazed at how well it worked and how it could know, because it was really based on who was linking to who, and it was very random. But once people figured out how they were doing it and what the algorithm was, they just gamed the system, and and
then they'd change the
did
system,
SEO.
and gain it, and change it, and now it's like, hey, the top results are all paid for, and I don't even know if the real results are fair now, because there's all kinds of allegations that certain things are promoted, and certain things based on politics and everything else, and I don't even know now. Your
Right.
point is, you hope it remains pure, and I couldn't agree more.
I agree, and that we'll watch it. We'll keep an eye on it, but at this point, I think that it still has the potential to do that, and I love it. I mean, I do ask
Amen.
GPT for recommendations and other AIs, and it is pretty good. And I feel like it's now, of course, it's using user base, and it's using information from the web, and some of that can be a little bit slanted or whatever. But it does a great job of giving
really
a second
good job.
opinion on something. Yeah.
Yep, and it even is smart to say, here's my recommendations or whatever, but you might consider this, you might consider that, or it's smart enough to ask questions like, oh, Sam, do you want just regular pizza or gourmet pizza, or do you want very unique tries on pizza? Do you want a certain kinds of pizzas? I mean, it kind of helps you, too, to get where you need to go, which is, in my opinion, really valuable. Anyway, the only reason I just said no is because I'm so jaded, Jay,
Right.
that I'm just not convinced that it's going to be like we all would want it to be. I
But-
really pray that it would be, though.
It will be cool though if you could say, if you say, yeah, there's pizza is the best one, and do you want me to order you one? Do you want to reserve a table? And it just be super helpful like that. I don't think we're at that level of trust though. I mean, I'm not at a level where I want to give an agent my credit card
Oh,
yet.
come on, Jay.
I'm not.
Come on, Jay. Oh, Jay. Come on. No, I understand. And you're right, exactly right. But it'll be levels of trust, though. I won't ask for your credit card first and order the pizza. What I'll just simply say is, do you want to order it? Or do you want to go? If you book a table, I'm going to say, hey, do you want me to invite your friends from your contacts? I can pop up your contact list, and you can invite who you want, Jay, to meet you at dinner. Okay, and so it's going to be levels of trust like that. It isn't going to get to your credit card tomorrow. I'm just telling you that when we start teaming this up with automation and AI mixed together, so transactional and action-oriented, the costs are going to go through the roof, and that's why they need all these data centers, because they can't fuel it yet. Just telling you. Now, if we could harness a hurricane, we could probably fuel that dude, Jay.
Well, the National Hurricane Center has unveiled upgraded forecasting for the coming up season. They say that they've introduced a new graphic model. It's set to debut this Atlantic storm season starting June 1st. The refined graphic aims to better convey wind risks and communicate storm hazards. An experimental version with higher accuracy in forecasting will also be launched. And I'm sure this is also AI-driven and with better models and better data aggregation and everything else. It's nice to see them also upgrading, and hopefully it will save lives.
I think it's way sweet, and I think it's going to really be helpful. It's a lot more, I don't know what you want to call it, information-oriented, Jay? Is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah, people see the cones and they think that sometimes that's where the wind is going to affect, that's not the drift in the center of the eye. And so I think they're trying to come up with better ways to communicate the danger in the actual, where heavy winds can be, because I think sometimes people see that cone, which narrows, in the beginning because it widens as it goes out in time. And they think, especially if it's hitting, it's this narrow, like, if you know exactly where this is going to come on shore based on weather data, and you're like, hey, this is going to hit at Panama City. And so the cone will be very narrow, and somebody in, say, Mexico City, which is almost next door, might be like, well, it's not going to really be affected because I looked at this cone and it looks like, so this is going to be better, showing kind of where the wind damage areas are and let people know. They're doing
You know
that
what
already.
this reminds me of? You
What's
know
that?
what this reminds me of? This reminds me of this movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a must-see movie. It's out now in theaters. It's called A Great Awakening, and I'm calling it Faith, Fire, and the Spirit of Liberty That Built America. But anyway, the reason I mention this is because in that movie, Benjamin Franklin is a scientist, and he's just running around chasing lightning, trying to capture lightning and stuff like that. So that
I
he
have
can
not seen that.
deal with electricity, and it's way cool. But
Have you
anyway,
seen
the
it?
reason I'm bringing it up, yes, sir.
Awesome.
It's great. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing it up, though, is because that excitement about capturing lightning is kind of the excitement that these weather people have about creating, one, tracking, but two, hopefully, I mean, if you could harness some of the power of those storms, just imagine the energy you could store, Jay.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Usually, anything that would do that, wind turbines and stuff like that, they shut it off because there's just too much power. There's too much.
Oh, yeah. You just can't deal with it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there you have it. I hope they get power centers in space like Elon Musk wants. I hope we can get power centers to fuel all this and everything else. It's pretty cool what they're doing, and I applaud them, especially if we can save lives in the weather centers, Jay.
That's always
That
a
to
plus.
me is the big deal, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
And that's the goal, and the goal is for people to kind of know what's coming and have a better handle on if it'll affect them, and if so, how bad and how much kind of I don't know what you want to call it, heads up for it. I got to go to this story, Jay. Ready or not, Microsoft to endorse Windows 11 upgrade with no opt-out.
What the heck?
They say they'll automatically update everybody to Windows, whether you have Home or Pro, to the new 25H2 starting October the 13th when support for 10 and all that ends. This, quote, compulsory uses machine learning, no opt-outs, and Jay, I think this is just disaster.
I don't think this is going to happen. Somebody's going to come up with something.
I pray you're right.
Steve Gibson's going to have a Never 10. He wrote Never 10. He's going to come out with
Yeah.
a Never 11, or something like that's going to happen.
It's going to be never 11.
Exactly. I can't imagine this because I'll tell you, like for my two main machines, I'm still running Windows 10. I'm not upgraded to Windows 11. I don't want to be upgraded. Some they can. But I've just opted
you just
out.
don't know it, Jay.
Well, apparently, come October 13th, I'm going to be forced to 11. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and
I
see,
may
to
be
me, that's
one of those.
wrong, though. Look, you build a better mousetrap, buddy, and we'll go to it. Okay, don't rely on force. Rely on we built something so good that Jay wants to upgrade.
Yeah, and I will say that most machines that I administer, which is hundreds of machines, literally, I have upgraded all of them to 11. I am using 10 just because there's some certain things about 11 that I still don't like, that I'm not ready for. I've got software that may or may not be compatible with it. There's things like that. And that's why for just my own main machine, I have 10. I don't recommend other people do that. I say you should go to 11 as well, especially buying a new PC or something. But
and we'll keep an eye on this. Hopefully somebody will come to their senses before this happens.
Hopefully I'll
That's all
update
we
my
can
PCs
say.
before then, and I'll have to be on 11 because that's
Well, I hope they don't force people. Even so, though, this strategy has got to go.
I think that they will.
that's-
I'm surprised, though.
I pray. All right, tell everybody about the Raspberry Pi cost, Jay. This is crazy.
The Raspberry Pi is going to be a $100 price increase amid global RAM shortages.
Whoa.
The Raspberry Pi price has risen to $220 due to a RAM shortage driven by AI demand, according to PC World. The CEO says that this is Eben Upton, calls the hike temporary and to introduce more affordable Pi 4 models for $83.75 as a cost-cutting alternative. But I'll tell you this, right? In what we're doing, we can buy these really small computers. These are almost smaller than a Raspberry Pi, a little taller, but definitely smaller than the board size of a Raspberry Pi.
Yes,
And
sir.
they're running in like 250 kind of thing. They're running N100 processors, and these things are faster by far than a Raspberry Pi. They're more capable because they're running full Windows 11. And so if Raspberry Pi gets to $220 I don't think that they're going to be competitive really at that.
No, they're
range.
not. They're not at all. And that's kind of the point. The only thing is they've got a lot built out on them and people are dependent on them. So we'll see where this goes. But we just wanted to let you know if you need pies, want pies, whatever else, go buy a piece of pie instead because it'll be way cheaper. All right. Thanks for being alongside for the ride. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. NetworkProvidersInc.com, NPITechGuys.com. I'm Sam. He's Jay. Thanks for watching and listening.